We found it through her children. My mother and father submitted it to Ancestry and 3andMe, and 3 weeks within them submitting it, we found my sister. It was like boom, boom, boom.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at victims of kidnapping or imprisonment that were found after decades of being missing.
God kept me safe and protected all these years, and I just want you to know that.
Blanche Monnier. Being kept a prisoner is terrifying enough, but being locked away in your own home must feel even more hopeless. When Blanche Monnier was 27, she had dreams of marrying a lawyer. Her mother didn't approve, and she expressed that by locking her daughter away in their attic. Her family kept up the ruse, pretending as though she had gone missing entirely. Her suitor passing away and her friends being left in the dark meant she was alone, with no one looking for her. After 25 years, an official received word of her imprisonment. When she was finally found, they were met with the sight of an extremely emaciated older woman, a shell of the socialite she'd been before being subject to such cruel treatment. Lydia Gouardo. Being imprisoned by your loved ones is a harrowing thought on its own, much less the idea of being tortured by them. Lydia Gouardo's girlhood was put on abrupt hold when her stepfather entered her life. As a young girl, she became his victim. She claimed to have made attempts to escape as a child, but was always returned by the police. The abuse escalated well into adulthood, where he thwarted more of her efforts to free herself. She remained in his clutches until his fate in 1999, when she was in her late 30s. Since then, she's dedicated her days to making her story known and criticizing the authorities that allegedly failed her throughout her youth. Jermaine Mann.
A mother and her son are finally back together 31 years after the boy was allegedly kidnapped by his own father.
It's estimated that a majority of kidnappings are done by the victim's own kin, including their guardians. This was unfortunately the case for Jermaine Mann, who was purportedly taken across the border from Canada into the United States by his father as a toddler.
I grabbed him and I squeezed his head. I want to feel if he's real. I touched him. I said, oh my God, my baby, you have my eyes. He hugged me and he kissed me.
The manipulation went on his entire childhood, with him being raised to believe he was born in America and that his mom had died during his birth. Mann would have gone the rest of his days believing these lies, until interviews with other relatives revealed his location to the police in 2018. Although the search for his dad continues, Jermaine was able to reunite with his mother in his 30s, debunking one of the biggest lies he'd been told.
And police have also confirmed, Todd, that Jermaine Mann was actually also living under a fake identity for the last 31 years.
Fung Lulu. Her story is proof that everything can change in one horrific instant. In 1989, Fung Lulu was still a little one when she was suddenly captured. She had been sold to another family and raised as their own, being fed constant stories that her parents had sold her after supposedly not being able to afford her. While she knew that she had been adopted, she wouldn't know her true identity until the 21st century, when she was found in a database. That information made it possible for her to be found and located, finally ending her lifelong ordeal. She was in her 30s by the time she met with her mother and father, but that didn't stop them from immediately embracing her. Jingwei. While some children who are abducted at a young age have no memories of their previous lives, some are able to cling to them. Jingwei was ripped away from everything he knew and bought by another household. Although they gave him a new name, he never forgot his true roots. He spent his youth drawing what he remembered of his town, keeping it in his mind. He was able to rely on those memories as an adult, posting his drawing online in the hopes of gathering information. It was spread far and wide, allowing officials to eventually find his biological mom. They were able to embrace for the first time since he was a boy, bringing an end to their long nightmare. Mao Yin. The feeling of being with your child one second, only for them to vanish the next, is every parent's worst fear. In 1988, that unfortunately came true for Mao Yin's father, who had been the last one to see his son before his unexpected disappearance. Yin's mother proceeded to spend the following decades attempting to get him back no matter what. Her efforts helped dozens of other families be reunited, with no luck of her own. With the use of facial recognition software, authorities were able to eventually track him down. His identity was confirmed in 2020, allowing them to reunite. After 32 years and several families reformed, she was able to relax and finally bond with her son. Clouse.
Oh my goodness. I know you from your picture.
Her world was turned upside down before she could even walk. Holly Clouse was a baby when her parents were killed, and she was whisked away from the scene of the crime. Investigators had no idea she had been relocated from Texas to Arizona and raised by an unsuspecting pastor.
God kept me safe and protected all these years, and I just want you to know that.
Indeed, for more than 40 years, until her parents' bodies were identified, the police didn't even know there was a child missing. In 2022, they found her alive and well. She lived a full life, unaware of the horrific event that led to her adoption. She connected with her relatives for the first time as an adult.
We're not going to give up on the people that did this.
No, ma'am.
We'll find out.
That's right. I promise that. One day we will. We will know.
Melissa Highsmith.
Do you think you'll see Melissa again?
As an infant, Melissa Highsmith had been left with a babysitter and subsequently stolen. She grew up believing her captor was her matriarch, and amazingly, was relocated just 10 minutes away from her true family. After years of being excessively sheltered and told she had brain damage, she eventually ran away at 15. This inadvertently put even more space between herself and her true family.
We found it through her children. My mother and father submitted it to Ancestry, and 3 of me, and 3 weeks within them submitting it, we found my sister. Like, it was like boom, boom, boom.
Eventually, a DNA test confirmed a link between one of her own children and her dad, allowing her to reunite with her parents. Shortly afterwards, she legally changed her name back to Melissa Highsmith, reclaiming the moniker that had once been taken from her.
It is overwhelming, but at the same time, it's just the most wonderful feeling in the world.
Susan Gervaise. What started out as a potential trip to Disney World ended in something much more insidious. In the late 1960s, a child named Susan Gervaise was allowed to travel with a couple under the guise of going on vacation. That was a lie, resulting in her being transported from the United Kingdom to Canada and then Australia and New Zealand. She made it to adolescence without realizing anything was amiss. Even after learning the truth at 16, she was content to not know every detail. It wasn't until later on that she realized the reality of her situation and set out to find her birth parents. She had an answer within a half hour, enabling her to see her father again after over half a century. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Dolly Anne Henson. She is living proof of how resilient some people can be. When Dolly Anne Henson was lured away and taken across the country as a young girl, she had no idea just how long she'd remain missing. Her birth certificate was rumored to have been changed along with her name, making it impossible to trace her origins. Although her kidnapper attempted to sour her against her family, she never lost hope. When her records were lost to a fire, it seemed like her efforts would end there. However, in 2009, she was finally able to locate and meet several relatives, including her sister. At 61, she had finally found what she had spent a lifetime searching for, allowing her to finally be at ease. Did any of these cases leave an impact on you? Let us know in the comments below.
Never give up. God never gives up on us.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.